back with a new video. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible, but this is the story of how I dated a guy that was a drug addict and had been in jail several times and all that good stuff. To start out the story, how this even happened. In the previous months before him, I had been talking to a guy. It really wasn't that serious, but I thought it was that serious because at 16, because I was 16 at the time, it wasn't that long ago, but for some reason this feels like forever ago. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I really don't. But at the time, at 16, I hadn't, went on a date. I hadn't even kissed anybody yet at that point in time. And during the summer, I had started a flirtationship with a guy from a different state. I knew him in real life, but he lived in a different state. So January comes around and the guy that I was talking to got an actual girlfriend. Surprise, surprise, because I don't know what I thought was happening here, but it was not apparently what he thought was happening. So, he got a girlfriend. He kind of just, broke it to me randomly. One day we were talking and we were fine. And the next day he was like, yo, I got a girlfriend. So, and I was like, oh, okay. I invited my best friend over that evening. And she came over because I'm pretty sure it was a Friday night, yeah. And, at least he gave me the weekend to be sad about it. So she comes over, and I don't know how I became friends with this person on Facebook. I think he just sent me a friend request, but he had been on my Facebook for, a little while. He posted a "to be honest," and I was just like, I'm gonna like this just because I can, okay? If I could go back, I would have never liked it. Well, everything leads up to everything else that happens to you, so I don't know if I would, I probably would have just been less stupid, and then when my mama was like, no, I would have been like, okay. I like the "to be honest," and he messages me and is like,
to be honest, you're beautiful and we should talk more.
You know, the basic stuff. It literally makes me cringe now, the small, you could put in this much effort and I would have been like, I love you, ew, ew. So I'm like, oh, bet. So I message him. Why did I do this? I do not know. And so then we're talking or whatever, and he's like, you're my girlfriend now. And I'm like, okay. Manera, what are you doing? Flash forward, my best friend is like, girl, no. For one, he ain't cute. For two, just no. So then he proceeds to tell me that he had been arrested before. And I'm like, oh, no biggie. No big deal. It's okay. And he's like, oh, it was for, something. It was, it didn't sound like that big of a deal. He tried to turn everything into, something that was somebody else's fault or something, and, he just got mixed up in it and all this jazz, okay? So finally, we meet, alright? My mom is having surgery at the Charleston hospital, okay? And he doesn't have a car or a house or literally everything. And mind you, he was 21 and I was 16. Obviously, probably shouldn't have been doing that. But, and the whole reason this even happened was because my dad was he doesn't like to pry very much, so he kind of was just whatever, your mama will tell you no if she don't like it. Okay, but my mom was having a hysterectomy and she was on drugs. She did not know left from right most of the time. So literally she didn't even really know what was going on until 2 months down the road, after she was off all the painkillers and stuff, and she was like, what is happening here? Anyway, we meet, and he kisses me. That was my first kiss on the sidewalk of the Charleston hospital with cigarette smoke coming out of his mouth. It was disgusting, and I do not wish anyone's first kiss to be like that. It was gross. Yeah. Then he started coming out and staying the weekends out of my house. My parents are bad parents. This sounds like they like didn't care, but like I said, my mom was just kind of like not even in the state to like argue with me. So I like conned my sister-in-law into going and getting him from the South Charleston Kmart at the time. So we get there and we get pulled over on the way there. Thank God, because if we got pulled over on the way after picking him up, who knows what kind of warrants or whatever he would have had on him. But we get pulled over, and that should have been a warning sign, like, stop, turn around, go home. But, you know, we still went. We get there, and he is wearing these pants with leaves of a plant. Nothing against that, like, you do you, whatever. Not a big deal. But he was coming to my house with my mother and my dad. And I'm like, honey, you cannot wear these pants. So I had to buy him pants because he had no money. Yeah. That was nice. So we bring him home, whatever. It was fine, I guess. So then another cute little story was Valentine's Day. My dad dropped me off at the Charleston Town Center to spend the day with him. Alright, so I had obviously gotten him a Valentine's Day present, right? Because that's what you do. I had given it to him, and he was like, oh, I didn't get you anything, but I'll get you something while we're here. And I'm like, okay. So he like walks around and he finds the store where he wants to buy me a gift. He proceeds to tell me that he has no money and can he borrow some from me. So I give him like 20 bucks to go buy me a Valentine's Day gift from him. Like, pretty much I just gave myself a Valentine's Day gift, okay? And then, of course, like, I kept the card and crap. Like, it was, like, so special. Like, oh my gosh, he got this for me. I think I kept the box of chocolates, like, forever, even though I bought it for myself. Pretty much. So that was a fun little story, too. So, then, the last thing that kind of, like, happened, like, before my mom, like, was like, no. We picked him up at the Charleston Town Center, and he was out of it. Now, he tried to say it was just, you know, the special plant. It was not. It couldn't have been. I know what that looks like, and that was not what that was. I don't precisely know what exactly it was, but like everybody knows, like it was something else. Like he was completely out of it, nodding in and out, like just, it was just horrible. And so my mom and dad are just like, I'm just cringing in the back seat because I know how bad this looks and like how awful it is. And so my mom and dad are just kind of like fed up. Like you could just tell that they're like, really? Like, this is gonna have to end. My mom and dad are like, well, we gotta go to Walmart and then we'll go eat somewhere, like Arby's or something. And I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to go to Walmart with him, walk around, and then proceed to go and eat with my parents somewhere with him. So I'm like, you could just drop me off or drop us off at McDonald's and then come back for us. They're like, okay. So we go to McDonald's and he doesn't even know what is happening. So we order I can't even. It was horrible. Like, he was just nodding in and out. It was absolutely ridiculous. One of the cashiers, like, I think I went to school with, like, he was just like, and then one of the other girls that I had known was like, oh, is this your boyfriend? And I'm like, yes. Like, when you're, like, extremely embarrassed by your significant other, like, it's probably just time to just let it go. But I didn't. We sat down at one of the tables, and 3 or 4 of the guys that I went to school with, country guys or whatever, that I really wasn't close to any of them, like, but we knew each other or whatever. And they come up and they're like, oh, is this your boyfriend? Because obviously I've been talking about him. And I'm like, yeah, literally, Luke does not even know that these guys are standing there talking to us. Like, he does not even know. Like, he's just so out of it that he's just, like, in his own little world, not even knowing what is happening. Like, it's bad. And so one of the guys is like, really? What are you doing with him? And I was like, wow, thanks. Like, and I was just like, oh, eating food. Like, what? That was a stupid answer. I knew what they meant, but I was just trying not to even get into that conversation. So they leave, whatever. Mom and Dad picks us up. Rest of the night was kind of stupid. He was just apologizing for being out of it or whatever. And, like, we all knew that it wasn't the plant or whatever. It was something harder than that. After that, the next weekend, he's supposed to come to the house. His uncle, I don't really know if this is actually his uncle, but that's what he said. And his uncle's girlfriend were supposed to be bringing him to the house. He was like, it's not going to be until late when I get there and all this. And I'm like, okay. So we leave the door unlocked, and I wait up all night for him to get there. I wait up all night long, and I'm like texting him, messaging him, like blowing his phone up, like he is answering, and it's just like a big deal. So finally, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, okay, something's up. So I call his aunt's house. Again, I don't really know if this is actually his aunt, but because I never met any of these people, but I call, and I'm like, there. And she's like, no, he got arrested. What? I'm like, oh, for what? And she was like, DUI. I'm pretty sure they got pulled over in Morgantown. I'm like, Morgantown? What? Like, so I was like mad. The next thing you know, I'm getting a call from the jail. And I accept it. And he's like, yeah, blah, blah. It wasn't my fault. Obviously trying to make excuses, all this stuff. Whatever. So, I tell my mom what happened. And she's like, no, you're done. It's over. Like, not happening anymore. And, of course, like, that just, I wanted to be my own boss, apparently. So, I'm like, no. So, now, from here on out, we don't see each other. We're just talking, like, over the phone. But my mom's like, every time I did anything, like, I got my phone taken away for, like, ever, because obviously she was trying to get me, like, away from him. One time, though, I did, like, con my friend into sneaking me to the Charleston Town Center by saying that we were going to the mall. Obviously, my mom assumed we were going to the Barboursville Mall. Then we went to the Charleston one. He was there. We met up and hung out. I told him myself. So, yeah. I told him myself that I saw him. Got grounded. Got my phone taken away. All that good stuff. Finally, the last straw. For me, obviously I wasn't allowed to see him. Was some girl messaged me. Was going through the same thing with him that I was. And I was just like, at this point, like, my mom and me were just not on good, like, terms. My mom calls it the dark ages because literally we argued constantly, and it was just like, like, I wasn't even around her, and, like, my mom is my best friend, and so, like, that was, like, sucky. And then, during the time, I had lost, like, all my other 2 best friends. I had lost them about something else, not over him, but it was over a different situation, and I'll do a video on that, but I want to do it with my best friend that was involved in it. I want to do it with her, because I don't want to, like, out that information without her doing it with me, if she wants to do that. But it was just a bad time, and I was just over it at that point. And it was Mother's Day when this, like, actually went on, and I was like, listen, I'm done, I'm over it, I blocked him. Like, it was history. I was done with it. He had made other accounts, tried to talk to me on them. I was always nice, but I was like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. Like, I'm not going to talk to you, like, in a relationship anymore. It's not happening. After that, I got in a relationship with another guy. He was like, oh, I'm gonna come and he's gonna disappear and, like, all this stuff. He was very, like, obsessive with me. Right after I started talking to Dalton, which was just, like, 2 years ago. I mean, this was, like, 4 years ago. 2 years later, he was still, like, trying to get with me. And he sent me, like, these big, long paragraphs about, like, how amazing I was, and, like, if I'd give him another chance, he'd treat me like a queen and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, like, stop. Dalton said something to him one time, and, like, I don't really know what he said, but he never tried to do anything ever again or say anything else, so it must have worked. Last thing that I knew, he was arrested again. You can see his mugshots, but I'm not going to give out his name, so, but if you know who he is, then you know, and you can search him up, and they're there, and my gosh, you can tell that he's on some stuff nowadays, okay? Which you could tell then too, but I was just oblivious. That is all for this video. I think I, like, pretty much covered everything. Obviously there was, like, a bunch more that, like, happened in between, but those were just the highlights of my relationship with a drug addict slash dude who's been arrested about a bazillion times. Most of his arrests now are from, like, armed robberies and stuff, so, like, that's fun. But yeah, that was my lovely relationship. That was my first, like, boyfriend and my first kiss. And it sucked, and I wish that would have never happened. But that's the story. It doesn't even feel like that was me or like that happened. Like, now it just doesn't even, like, I don't even feel like that happened to me or like I was with this person. That's all for this video. If you liked it, please leave a big thumbs up and leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and hit the little notification bell right next to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.